Hey everybody, Star 6 Wars 1 here, and welcome back to the months of Studio Bones. For this one, we look at the anime RahXephon. Now, for RahXephon, I've noticed that it's not usually talked about or watched very often, and when it is, it's usually being called an Eva clone. Is RahXephon a series that not only needs to be talked about more, and not considered an Eva clone, or is it mostly forgotten for a reason? Well, let's find out. First up, the story. The story is about a high school student named Ayato, who leads a normal life until he encounters a girl by the name of Haruka while trying to find his friend Reika. Soon after finding Reika, he discovers and awakens the RahXephon, a giant mech that will help Ayato with his destiny, as the life he thought he knew comes crumbling apart and realizes that not all is what it seems. Now, the strong part of the story is seeing how all the events of the story unfold. It does have some foreshadowing in there if you know where to look. Now, the major problem I had with the story is early on I feel it does a very poor job explaining what's going on, and I waited 4 episodes to explain the main conflict, and it was an exposition dump right in the intro, by the way, which in my opinion is kind of stupid. As far as the story goes, it's good, but it takes a while to get good. For the characters, let's start off with our main character, Ayato. Ayato is a 17-year-old student and artist who, after his life is changed, seeks a place in the world and find out more about the world and himself. I'm really not sure what to think of Ayato. On one hand, yeah, his character is interesting, and during the second half of the show, he's actually a really great character. On the other hand, it takes a few episodes for him to get to be an interesting character, and I'm not going to deny he's not always the most likable. He's not a bad main character, but I feel he could have been much better. Next, we look at the mysterious character of Reika. Reika is seemingly a student on Ayato's class, but as the show goes on, we learn that not all is what it seems with Reika. Like Ayato, I don't know what to think of Reika, but unlike Ayato, I can't really go into her character without going into spoilers. But I will say, she's an okay character, just not a favorite of mine. Next up we have Haruka, a girl whom Ayato and the audience met when she arrived in Tokyo, while it was under attack during the first episode. As a result of this meeting, Ayato would go on his journey. Out of all the characters, I liked Haruka the most, though I'm not gonna lie to say that I think that's not really saying that much. However, I don't have much to say on her, so I'll just say again that I liked Haruka, and leave it at that. Next, we have another mysterious character that goes by the name of Quan, who we meet a bit later on than the other 3. However, I don't want to get into her character for fear of spoilers, though I will say that by the show's end, she's a very interesting character that I enjoy to watch. The side characters range from really good to okay. Honestly, it depends on the characters and their roles in the stories. Overall, the characters are good, but are not without their problems. Still, I do like them. The animation is an early Bones work, and at times it shows. While the backgrounds look nice, I can't say the same for the character design, which looks a bit off when you see it, especially from a distance. The only thing I find impressive about the animation is actually the RahXephon itself. It looks really great, and when it moves, it's really well animated. I've got nothing but praise for it when it comes to the RahXephon itself. However, aside from that, the animation is pretty average and a bit dated. The OST for RahXephon is okay. For what it does in the show, it does it well, but outside of that, it's not the most memorable OST I've heard. The opening and ending are, again, okay, but nothing special, but they're nothing bad either, which is good. Now, should you go with this sub or dub? The dub is okay. I've heard better from ADV, but I've also heard a lot worse from them as well. I'd say go with your preference on this one. I don't think it would harm the show either way. Now, like I said in the beginning of this review, a lot of people compare this to Evangelion. In my humble opinion, I can say that I find that the two are very different in terms of story and characters. However, I do think without Eva, RahXephon wouldn't exist, or if it did, not in the same way. On its own, it's a pretty good anime. However, it doesn't stick out much and does take a bit to understand what's going on. Overall, RahXephon is a good anime, but it doesn't stand out to the greatest of shows. I give RahXephon an 8 out of 10. While not perfect, I do recommend checking it out at least once. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you guys next time.